That said, the group I'm worried about most of all right now is the small business sector.
Yeah.
The cost of doing business, not just in Australia, but across the world, is really high now. And they can't put prices up to the level that they need to cater for the increases in all the costs, from electricity to wages to the goods
payroll
that they're buying
taxes and land taxes.
Correct.
And
everything's in there, right?
yeah, superannuation.
At some
whatever.
point, if the small business isn't making money,
Yeah.
it's going to fold. And if that business folds, it's going to leave a debt, typically in the community that they work in, but people are going to lose jobs. So we need to be really conscious now around where the small business sector is. It's the only negative I picked up out of the US is that the small business sector in the US is also under pressure as well. So there's a warning bell in that for me.
Let's meet someone who's led with heart, built bridges between business and community, and is now bringing that same visionary leadership to the world of sport. I'm Kate Save. The Inspired CEO starts now. Welcome to The Inspired CEO, where each episode we explore the innovative wellness practices that are driving success and longevity in the modern business world. In this interview, we speak with Paul Guerra, a dynamic leader whose career has spanned global business, public advocacy, and now professional sport. From his time as CEO of the Victorian Chamber of Commerce, where he championed small business recovery during the world's hardest period, the pandemic, to his new role as CEO of the Melbourne Football Club. Paul shares powerful insights on leadership, resilience, and the importance of values-driven decision-making. He's a firm believer that strong communities and strong organisations go hand in hand. And in this conversation, we uncover what truly drives him. Welcome, Paul.
Great to be here, Kate. What an unbelievable introduction. Thank you.
Oh, you've achieved so much in your lifetime. And I was listening to one of your other podcasts, and you were speaking about your Asia Pacific role with Motorola. Yeah. And you were at Motorola before there was mobile phones.
That's right. So I saw the birth of mobile phones in my time there. So,
it's incredible.
Yeah.
And the other company,
Optum,
is that right?
Yep.
So I had a look into that. So it's a multi-billion-dollar health organisation.
Yeah, it's massive. So United Health Group is the parent.
Right.
And that's an amazing organisation. Was the 7th largest company in the world.
Wow.
It's had a bit of a stock hit over the past few weeks. Most people will recognise the name from the CEO that was murdered in New York City. So United Healthcare. The insurance giant, they're part of United Health Group as well. So yeah, I was privileged. And I joined United at the time where technology and health were really coming together. Right. So it's fascinating to see where tech was going in the health space. Yeah.
Yeah, and even to this day, I think technology and health now, you can't unwind them. They are together.
Yeah, they are, and we should be using it more in Australia. So there's a bunch of practices that we've seen around the world, particularly in my time at United Health Group, that we should be using here to get not only managing our health better, but to be managing it more efficiently as well. And
what I love most about this new health tech space is personalised nutrition coming into this, and personalised medical care, and finally results from whatever medical testing you're having actually being available to the individual, whereas in the past you couldn't access your own results.
That's right. So it's starting to put control in your hands.
Yes.
So people are being better educated, and the work that you've done is helping that as well. I can now control my health journey with the help of the right experts around yourselves and the other physicians there, but I can do it in my own home. Whereas I don't need to end up in a hospital or a managed care. I can do it in my environment. And I think that's going to be better for all of us longer term.
Yeah, and what that does is gives you choice of provider too, because in the past, different providers were kicked out of the system basically. So you couldn't see who you wanted to see because they didn't have access to your records. You could only see very traditional medical clinicians.
And the funny thing is, Kate, with the data that's being collected, that's powerful. And so being able to use that data to look at, for example, again, United Health Group, with all the work that they've done with people, if you presented with mental health condition and a back complaint,
Yes.
if they treated the back complaint before the mental health complaint, you got maybe a 30% recovery. Whereas if you treated the mental health before you treated the back, you got close to a 90% recovery in the back component as well.
Gosh.
So there's different, all the interlinkings, and we learn more about the human body every day, but it's using your work and others, and then through a data lens, okay, what's occurring here and what can we learn through it? That's the exciting part.
Yeah, and I think that study, that's incredible. And the one that comes to mind for me is Professor Felice Jacka from Deakin Uni's Food and Mood Centre. She published the SMILES trial, and she looked at counselling versus changing diet. And what she found is the people that had counselling for major depression and anxiety versus the people that saw a dietitian and changed their diet, remission rates were 7% for counselling and 36% for changing diet.
There you go.
So change what you're eating and major depression and anxiety goes into remission. So huge percentages. So there's so much we don't know.
There is, and we'll learn more about it every day.
Yes.
And that's a good thing, which means we're going to live longer too.
Yes,
So.
and you did Vodafone as well. Yes, you've had incredible roles.
Yeah, I've been lucky with, I've worked for 3 of the world's greatest multinationals. Motorola 17 years, Vodafone for 3. United Health Group for 5 in senior roles. So I saw firsthand what great leaders were doing through that, which was beneficial for me. And then I've worked with some of the great companies that have been around for a long time. So Queen Victoria Market, I chaired the board there for 7 years, and that's about 150 years old.
Wow.
The Royal Agricultural Society.
Yes, I
with
saw that
showgrounds and
acronym.
everything.
Yes.
So, so that's about 150 years old as well. And Victorian Chamber is about 170 years old. So it's like I've been privileged to work with all these different organisations, learn a lot through it. So.
And also Racing Victoria.
Yeah, I'm on the board there, so
Yeah.
it's a bit of a passion in terms of
you've got to have something
horse
fun.
racing. Yeah, it does, but it also enables me to look at a governance level into sport. So, and that was, it's still a fascinating role, fascinating sport. Yeah, there's challenges there, but I think there's challenges in every sport as well. So, just at a board level, taking out of the executive role into a board level, how can I help the organisation do what it needs to do?
Makes sense. And with all of the knowledge and experience that you have in all these different sectors as well. And your first degree was electrical engineering, was it?
Yeah, electronic engineering.
Yeah,
So
wow.
it's hard to believe that this kid that walked out of Swinburne with a electronic engineering honours degree has ended up doing what I've done. But I'm now normal to the next group coming through, and that they're going to have multiple careers as part of their journey. Yeah, that's me. That's the variety that I seek in it. So it's good.
Yeah, and how? So tell me a little bit. You've come back from the US. How was that trip? And you've got the World Chamber of Commerce conference coming up in Melbourne in September. So what was this visit to the US about?
Yeah, so I got back yesterday. So I spent 2 weeks in the US, and I'd encourage anyone just to get across there. The vibrancy that's in the US at the moment is not what gets reported.
Right, so it's upbeat. There's a
unbelievable. New York was next level good, and there's so much VC money, venture capitalist money in New York looking for a home.
You're kidding.
They're really keen to hear from anybody that's got a great idea, and there's a propensity to back people. We don't quite see that here. New York has become the financial hub again, so really upbeat through that. I spent a couple of days in Philly, and that was part of the US conference, which is in the lead into the World Chamber Congress as well, which, as you said, is in September, where we'll get about 1,000 people from all over the globe coming into Melbourne. We bid for that and won, and we did it deliberately because we knew through COVID, Victoria really pulled itself back. Yeah, we need to be part of the rest of the world. The best way to do it is to get out there. Even better way is to bring the world here. So that's what we're doing at the World Chamber Congress. So I was in Philly for a couple of days there. Went to a baseball game.
Oh, so good.
Wednesday night, 45,000 people turned out to a baseball game. And it was full on. It was great.
Amazing.
And then I went to DC for about 4 days. Some incredible meetings in DC.
As soon as I hear everything that you've done, you're doing, and how passionate you are, I think of Greg Hunt and how his famous line is about execution and getting things done. There's been no job that you've had that you haven't been constantly executing and leading wherever we're going into the future, even without a roadmap and a path. You're creating roadmaps.
It's really interesting. So that's why I left engineering, was for exactly that. I wasn't a great engineer. I was a pretty good project manager. But I found through project management, I was delivering projects that technology was a couple of years old. And by the time I'd finished the project, I was kind of 4 years out of date. Yes. And I didn't want to be like that. I wanted to be current. I wanted to stay in the moment, but also focusing a bit further into the future as well. So made the transition out of that into sales because sales was at the forefront. And when I did it, it was like an engineer becoming a salesperson. That just doesn't happen. And it was tough. It was tough 12 months, but made the bridge across. And then from there, it's been one of, okay, let's focus on the future as well as what do we need to do today so that we're around for the future as well.
Not many leaders can actually think like that. Great leaders can, but that is honestly something I think that separates you from a lot of people that are leading organisations that perhaps are falling victim to what's happening around them rather than looking for the next opportunity and looking forward.
Yeah, it was something that I'd learnt early on, and it was brought home in a training course I did with the United Health Group, this concept of looking around corners. So what information are you picking up that it might, in isolation, it mightn't mean anything, but if you're curious enough to worry about what's happening with the rest of the world, then you'll start to join a few dots, and that will enable, in terms of decision making, where your company needs to go, that will enable you to make the right decision. So I'm curious in that regard. I've got, by virtue of the roles, I've got a network of people from all over the world. In DC, I caught up with a former boss of mine in New York, and I hadn't seen him for 10 years. We worked out. In New York, I took Victoria Police across to the US. We were selling them what turned out to be the aggregated call centre.
Yes.
I met a New York policeman as part of that 32 years ago, and we're still in touch today. We had no reason to be friends, but we became friends and stayed friends on that way through. And what occurs through that, if you enjoy people, and I do, you tend to make relationships, and then from there you're able to pick up different insights, and that came to the fore through COVID with some of the people I was able to tap into, including a former boss of mine who ran the vaccination program for the Biden administration.
Wow.
So it was pretty cool to pick the phone up to Andy Slavitt to say, Andy, we're struggling here with a bit of vaccination. Can you help? Yeah, Paul, what do you need?
Gosh. And that is the power of creating strong communities, isn't it? And strong connections, that you never leave a room without making sure that you've been the best version of yourself and given something back to the people. Like, leave them with something. Never ask first, always give.
Yeah, be prepared to engage with people. If you're in the roles that we have, and they're not easy, but they're a privileged role. There's very few that make it to the leadership side. So when you're there, value the opportunity and make a difference at that point. It can't be about you. It's about the connections that you make, what you're giving of yourself in a hope of getting a return.
Yeah. And I must say, I love the podcast that you did with Michaela as well. There's incredible guests on there, and the way you delve into their journeys. I listened to Alex Vivola's story the other day, and just the turbulence of, following people through their business journey and what we've been through, particularly in Victoria. What was one of the biggest challenges for you within that COVID period?
It was full on. Probably the biggest challenge was a personal one. I got COVID it was late June 2020, and that was at a period where there was no vaccine. So I was kind of the early adopter. And it was at a period where if you got COVID, you were going to die. It was essentially the mandate. So it wasn't, and it's the sickest I've ever been. What made it worse? I got tested on the Tuesday. I didn't get the results back to the Thursday. So we're in that period where it was just a mess in how we're managing it. I was taping the drum, believe it or not, on the Thursday night, and the phone starts ringing. I couldn't answer the call. My daughter ended up answering a call, slipped a note under the door, and said, the doctor needs you to call. So
and then she taped up the room. Dad, you're not leaving.
And that's what happened. So I ring the doctor back, and the doctor says, you got COVID. I said, no, that can't be the case. She said, you've got COVID, Paul. So what do I need to do now? She goes, you need to isolate, and you should have been isolating since you got tested. Of course I hadn't. So And then at that moment you go, I think I'm going to die. How do I
Yeah.
tell people that I've got COVID?
Yeah.
And it was a bit of an embarrassment to have COVID at the time. Anyway, I rang my wife and she was great. I rang 2 other people and then I rang 2 people from within the state government because I thought, well, if I've got it, they might as well see through my lens
Yeah.
what
this is
the
like.
response,
What is this?
exactly, and what their response is going to be. So
Yes.
hopefully we can improve it. Worst part was, though, I've got 3 children, my wife obviously, they all tried to get tested, couldn't. Next day went back and got tested. That's how much of a mess it was.
Oh, my
Turns out my son had contracted COVID as well. So here I am thinking, this is not good for me, but when your son, when your children get it as well through you, and you know they can only get it through you. So anyway, we got through it, didn't kill me. Some will be disappointed about that, others will be happy. I think in the end for me,
That mortality, like, what did that mean in your career journey and what happened with your mind, business? What's next for you? Because that would absolutely stop you in your tracks.
yeah, it did. And what was interesting, and I decided I'm not a good diary keeper. It's not something that I do, but I kept the diary through that. So at the end of every day, I would write down what the last 24 hours experience was like. I've not reread it. It still sits there, but I redesigned in my head, that's the engineer coming through, what should happen in terms of COVID response.
Oh, wow.
So I was sort of trying to work and then I'm redesigning the COVID system and provided that back to the state as well. So it's kind of, how can I help here? So the mind was still, okay, if I'm going to go, then at least let there be a benefit.
And talk about getting into the thick of it and really just being hands-on there.
Yeah.
My best girlfriend was working in the intensive care unit at the Royal Melbourne Hospital at the time, and I spoke to her at least once or twice a day every day because the pressure that was on the hospital system, the doctors, but the families as well. She had 2 children at home and she was terrified to see her own children because she would have to, they gown up and whatever else and they got the masks on, but when she came home, she couldn't let the family come near her until she'd washed again and just terrified to be around her own family in case they contracted it.
Yeah, so she will understand when I talk about you pass it on to your son.
Yeah.
So it was, and again, so I pick up the phone and ring my friends from United Health Group and say, I've got it.
Yeah.
How do I manage this? And it was interesting. So most people thought it was killing you through the lungs. It's actually killing you through the heart. So the advice I got was to stay upright for as long as you can through the day.
Wow.
So, and that was tough.
Yeah.
So because I'm, rather than lying down,
you're exhausted when you're that sick.
Sitting up, that was the advice. And maybe that's what got me through. I don't know.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. So there's the toughest part. What was your proudest moment? What's something in your tenure at Chamber of Commerce, Victorian Chamber of Commerce?
Yeah, being available. Right?
Yeah.
In the end, the COVID period for me, I was lucky. I was employed. I had great access to the government. But the desperation in businesses, business owners' voice when they were getting shut down against their wishes and knowing that their business was going to be put in peril was really tough. So to be available for them through that period, it's something I reflect on and go,
what percentage of the businesses that you were working with do you think thought this is it for us?
Oh, 90%.
90%.
Yeah. I mean, there were times that I was taking calls from, and I was in a really fortunate position, and anyone that rang, either I answered or I got back to them and talked through. And in the end, people knew that, so they were feeding their ideas into me, which was great because when I was working with the state to come up with solutions, I had real world examples of what was going on, and we used that to put solutions together of what we thought could help business at the time.
And so you've got something like 47,000 members, 80-something thousand businesses that you engage with. So over that period, if you've got 90% of these people reaching out and struggling, how did you manage that?
Yeah, so you just do. I mean, at the end of the day, they've got their own money at risk. They're employing people. I thought it was my duty to give them the hearing that they needed and try and do something that can actually help them. People don't understand the risk that business owners are taking every day. It's their money. It's not anyone else's. It's their money. They're employing people. They're doing a service generally for the community in the hope they get a return.
Yes.
Now, it'd be much easier to take that money and put it in the bank and earn interest, but no one gets jobs out of that. So people like yourself and others that have taken that risk in running small businesses, my hat goes off to them.
And that risk is always there. And I think that's the part that people that aren't running businesses don't see, that
Correct.
there isn't a day that goes by that the business could fall off a cliff if one thing changes. That
Correct.
you can risk manage as well as you like, but there are so many things out of your control and it takes one thing. And I saw you were advocating for gas to keep going, because if we didn't have gas in Victoria, all these hospitality businesses wouldn't exist.
They would not exist.
Yeah.
So there's the point where we say government will be in our lives and needs to be, but there's a point that crosses the line. And that's where, as a business community, we need to get better at saying, actually, we're okay at doing this stuff.
Yeah, what about
We
us?
don't need the direction
Yes.
out of government, but clear the way and let us go on and do it. And
Yeah.
it's again, coming back from the US. Everyone should go to the US, I reckon, for a couple of weeks a year, because that positivity and vibrancy, but just that, we are going to get through this. We are going to drive through this. And the government has a way of getting out of the way over there. And we're seeing that more
With
with the
small
Trump
business,
administration.
is that?
Yeah, small business as well.
Right.
That said, the group I'm worried about most of all right now is the small business sector.
Yeah.
The cost of doing business, not just in Australia, but across the world, is really high now. And they can't put prices up to the level that they need to cater for the increases in all the costs, from electricity to wages to the goods
Payroll
that they're buying in.
taxes and land taxes
Correct.
and
Everything's in there, right?
yeah,
It's-
superannuation.
At some
whatever.
point, if the small business isn't making money,
Yeah.
it's going to fold. And if that business folds, it's going to leave a debt, typically in the community that they work in, but people are going to lose jobs. So we need to be really conscious now around where the small business sector is. It's the only negative I picked up out of the US is that the small business sector in the US is also under pressure as well. So there's a warning bell in that for me.
And do you know what's scary about that is when you think about lenders and the banks and tightening up and not lending these businesses money, well, yes, they're mitigating their risk, but it's also actually increasing the overall risk, because
Correct.
if the businesses can't get a loan to get through, they have no choice but to fold.
Correct.
Yeah.
And that's why getting back to basics in your business is so important right now. Most businesses fail because of cash flow.
Yes.
Right? So have you got the right cash flow plans in place? Have you got a business plan? Because the amount of businesses that I talk to that actually don't have a business plan,
Yes.
you're just adding risk into something that you don't need to. Because if you're really clear about where you're going, you'll find a path there. Whereas if you don't, any road will get you there, and it's kind of like the river which ambles down. That's
Yes.
costly, because time is money, and ultimately, if you can't find the money, you are going to go out of business. So get prepared, everybody.
Yeah, and I love that. Even as a bit of a visionary as well, I know that if I put things on a vision board, I open up that door where the vision board is, and I only see it maybe once a month or something like that. Things are ticked off that list. I don't know how, but they're on the roadmap. So you've got to get things on your map to be able to tick them off. If they weren't there, they probably wouldn't have happened.
How long did it take you to do the vision board?
Oh, 9 months.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a long process, because it really, maybe 9 months of thinking about it, actually putting it together, 20 minutes, because I think once you're clear about what it is, but it's actually getting clear about what matters most and priorities.
And did you cut pictures out?
I did,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's a great exercise.
Yeah, it is. It makes you feel wholesome that when you have a bad day or something goes wrong in your business, it gives you purpose. Again, you're like, okay, well, I've got family. We've got a holiday booked in September for Bali.
Fantastic.
Things that just bring you joy when we've got rate cuts coming up, which is going to be great. So I heard that that's 100% coming through, which will be lovely.
Yep.
But yeah, when things get hard in business, you've got to have things to look forward to.
Yeah, I think that's life though. Right? You've got to have those points where there is some positive that you've got coming up. Winters here are becoming harder, and we're in the middle of it now. So to sort of look forward to something to get you through that, it's really important.
Yeah, and taking a break, taking some time out and nurturing yourself. Like we forget just the chaos, you need the calm to offset that. And if you don't get that recovery, you can't recharge and you're going to fall apart. And
I reckon there's a bit that's been building up into this. I don't think we take enough time to ourselves and just that quiet time. And I was raised a Catholic and
you're one of 5.
I'm one of 5.
2 older sisters, and you were the hero boy that came
right. So the
next.
first boy in an Italian
Yes.
family, and then 2 younger brothers. And we were humble beginnings, 3-bedroom home. I shared a bedroom with my 2 brothers growing up. And you look back on it now, how'd you do that? Our kids wouldn't know that. But Sundays were all about going to church for an hour and then down to grandma's for lunch.
Same.
But that hour in church, you think about, when do you take an hour out of your week now and do nothing? Right?
Yeah.
No one does it.
Yeah.
That hour at church, that was that time where we just stopped.
No one could talk. No one could
talk. You do everything in remote control. Like you learn the patterns and everything. But
And
you
it's
couldn't think about
internal
anything.
reflection, isn't it? It's
Because you're not talking to anyone.
No,
You're hearing
no.
somebody talk at you.
Yeah.
You're singing every now and then.
Yeah.
We don't do it now. And I think what COVID was a build-up of a lot of things, and we probably missed some markers along the way with the disease set that was coming through. But I think the trauma that's been created out of COVID is now playing into us. The group that I feel most sorry for is anyone that's aged from 20 to 26 at the moment, because they've missed, through that COVID period, the best years of their life.
Oh, yeah.
And we owe that
graduating high school, starting uni, going on those uni.
Correct.
What are those things called when you first start
O-week.
the party?
Orientation
O-week,
week,
and you
That's
must
where
have had a
you-
good time because you
I had
remember.
a great time. And that's what I say when people in your first year of uni, everyone smiles.
Yeah.
Like, no one did any
so
work.
good.
It was an
Yeah.
endless party, but that group missed all of that.
Yeah.
Right? And then as parents, we're kind of looking at that going, they've missed it. How do we make up for it? And through the height of COVID, where no one knew what was going to happen next, there's a trauma that we're still living in here. So that time to sort of reflect on yourself, it doesn't matter what position you're in, it will have taken a toll on you. So what are you doing to nurture and recover as a result of the stress that was there?
Do you know the first time that I stopped after that whole, I would call it a 3-year period, because you had the 2 years of the lockdown, then you had the next year of just trauma to your business, trying to pick up again, trying to rebuild, and nobody actually knowing what was happening next. There was no patterns, it was unlearning everything and trying to relearn again in a system that didn't have a roadmap. And I remember stopping and going up to, someone recommended the Health Lodge in Byron Bay, and I went there. And when I got there, you weren't allowed to use phones and all these sorts of things. And they had these really quiet rooms and this magnesium bath. And I remember going into this area and sitting in the bath and going, oh, I think I could just fall asleep forever. Like, I don't think I can move. I felt paralysed, that it was the first time I'd been still in 3 years and not connected. Nobody could contact me. And that silence and that peace was a turning point for me to go, oh, that's right. You live in this body. You're not what you do. You are a human with a purpose. And
And if you can't function, all the people connected to you, they will struggle to function as well. So I think we're in this period now where we're all trying to recover from COVID and the opportunities that we've lost. Trying to get ourselves to a position where we're happy and healthy again, so that we can work on the things that we need to work on to make society even better. We're struggling a bit in Australia with that, which I hope we can kick out of real soon.
Absolutely. Now, moving forward and going into the Melbourne Football Club, sounds like a very exciting opportunity. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so it is exciting. I've followed sport my whole life. I had dabbled in it with Racing Victoria and the board there, but to get engaged in what is the preeminent competition in Australia, AFL, and then to be running one of 18 clubs. But as it turns out, Melbourne Football Club is the oldest sporting club in the world.
I was going to say, the most historic club in the world.
The history that sits there is phenomenal. It's a privilege for me to be selected to do it. I'm so looking forward to getting into it, and with a team of people that are there, working out how we get success both on the field and off the field. I've got a really simple saying about it. We want to be the destination club on field, but we want to be the destination club off field as well. So to bring the talent in and develop people and then see them go and have great careers, that applies equally on the sporting field as what it does in the administration side as well.
And to bring joy into people's lives with a game, like fundamentally it's a game that brings joy. That is the essence of it. And people think of it just as a career and business and serious, but you are bringing joy to people's lives. You don't go to the MCG and not feel a sense of excitement. And
it's that connection piece. Right? So again, through COVID, we missed a lot of that. So what football clubs are great at doing is giving people a reason to belong. Right, it's tribal. Often it's traditional. Sporting clubs are. I'm an Essendon supporter because my grandfather was an Essendon supporter, and he passed it down to Dad. Dad passed it down to me. I'm having to park that Essendon passion for a while as I go into Melbourne, but that tribalism that's there. We've spent. I went once I was appointed. I went into one of the official functions. The rest of it, I've just sat in the members area and through the outer and just watched the passion come through. People in a completely different level. So all that is really exciting.
Tell me a little bit about that rivalry, because my family is all Carlton. My husband's family are all Collingwood. So it's a very well-known rivalry. But what about so Essendon versus Melbourne? What's that like?
So the history between the two would only go back to the 2000 grand final where Essendon beat Melbourne in the grand final. That was Neil Danaher's the only time he got to a grand final with Melbourne as well. So as an Essendon supporter then, I was really glad to see the win. The good thing is the tension between the two clubs isn't that strong. But that said, when they run out onto the field, they're all wanting to win the game. And I want to see Melbourne win the premiership before I see Essendon win a premiership, or Collingwood or Carlton win a premiership as well. But we all know how hard it is to do.
Incredible. Well, thank you so much for sharing. And is there any last words? What's the legacy you want to leave with the Victorian Chamber of Commerce?
I'd like people to think about the Chamber as an organisation that stood up for businesses through COVID. So, and if the narrative is around that, then I'm happy. When people reflect on me, I hope they know that I was in their corner. Not just for business, but inside of government. I saw some incredible people in government do some extraordinary things in a time of complete uncertainty. I'd like to think that we played that bridging role between government and business, and hopefully we made life better for people. Incredible.
And I think at the end of the day as well, there's some pretty big shoes to be filled in your role. Have they found a replacement?
Yeah, they have. There's Sally Curtin's coming in from Bendigo Kangan. And look, I think as a CEO, and you would know this, organisations shouldn't try to pick the same person to replace the person that's going. We're 170 odd years old, and we've survived because different leaders have come through with different ideas, and that's my wish for Sally is she picks it up and does it her way and takes the organisation in the direction that she thinks is the right way to go. Because that's what keeps organisations fresh. And
new networks, new communities, and she's not going to lose yours, so it's just adding on that.
Yeah, and that's the thing. So as leaders, some of us look back, some don't. The legacy will be what it'll be. All I know is that when I started, bottom line is better than it's better now than what it was when I started. We've got
and you had COVID in the middle of that, so that's pretty incredible
as well. So we're a different organisation. It's Sally's opportunity now to sort of pick that up. We're custodians for the period of time that we're in charge and hand it to the next person.
It's a great way of looking at it. Well, thank you so much, Paul.
Pleasure.
And this is the Inspired CEO, and we'll be right back.